Welcome back, everyone. Yes, chat room filling up nicely. Remember, not the 5th of November, but remember to put yourself onto live chat, everyone, up in the top left-hand corner. Live chat is the place to be, and you can enjoy Joe Joseph hanging out in the chat room, Queen Goddess in there, Dee Dee. We've also got Roxy, S. Mick. Who else is in there chilling out? The Tree Mistress. Are you, like, related to the Tree Hugger? Stuart Newby, indeed. Incendiary. Nice name. I think that's a new one. Let's see. Where are we? Who else we got kicking about in here? Reaper, the Dude, Kenny. Oh, and so many more. Guys, here we are. We're live. Again. Back. How you all doing, boys?
Yes. I'm doing fan-tiddly-astic, my friend. Fan-tiddly-astic. What are you doing to me?
There we go. I've got it sussed, man. I've got it sussed. Somebody in the chat room says I should have this sussed by now. It should be, like, easy to me. No, there's too many buttons to be pressing.
There's always something, isn't it? There's always something.
Yes, how you doing, guys? Ready to go?
Doing fantastic.
I've got some cracking topics for us tonight, boys. The search for NiburWOO. You like how I done that one? NiburWOO. It's on, and we'll be getting into that. But of course, don't forget.
That's a beautiful thing. Matter of fact, did you copyright that? You should copyright that.
Not yet. Probably David Wilcock. He's probably like.
I'm sure he'll beat you to it.
Yeah, he'll be watching right now, unless of course the deep state are affecting his new veneers. You know how they ground down his old teeth.
Kev. Kev.
Don't talk in code to me, Joe. Don't talk in code. We'll lose the audience just the same as a lot of YouTube channels are losing the audience right now. Anyone else notice that, like, there's a certain couple of topics on YouTube? They've been here for a while, but they're starting to really die off quite rapidly. And of course, the inevitable happens. When topics die, there's this almost frenzy at the end, you know, that this gallant last stand to keep things going, and it gets more ridiculous, and that's where we are now with so many of the topics that have been annoying me on the platform for some time now. And we were watching some videos before the show, and Joe's losing the will to live. Look, Scotty Lopez.
Dude, literally, I just felt the life force being sucked from me as I had to watch that.
You know, people with this awakening, comes great responsibility and also great perils as well, right? Because it's easy enough, and we've been there at the start. Well, I have, I know that, you know, to get sucked into the more dramatic, the more hyped, the more sensational stuff. Not close to the truth or anything, but it's easy to get sucked in. But it's coming out of that. It's coming to the realization at some point that, well, hang on, maybe, just maybe what I've been told here isn't too true. And then they move on, but like you guys were pointing out, there's always new people in this awakening that are back in that situation. So that's why these things rumble on a bit longer now. They used to die off quite quickly, guys, right? But now it goes on a bit longer.
I will say that they become much more elaborate.
Yeah.
You know, these snake oil salesmen and their tall tales, if you will.
And their codes.
They surpass that of the Red Dragon and the Thousand Ninjas.
I mean, the Thousand Ninjas and the Dragon.
On and on ad nauseum.
Well, compare that, because I had my moment, right? I had my Red Dragon moment. And like you say, Joe.
We all have our Red Dragon.
Yeah, like you say, I mean, it was bad. Don't get me wrong. I lived it. I was in the center of it. I had to look at it and admit to myself, whoa, that Joe Joseph and Popeye, they well duped me into this one. But when I look at that, it was what, 2-3 interviews, and that was pretty much it, right? This thing's been rolling for years now, dude.
They have longevity, but they're so complex. And if you take a look like at that, the flat Earth fucktardery, you can actually kind of see that it's an elaborate ruse. And there's, even though you can, I don't even like to use the word debunk because it's stupid. It's not anything to debunk because it's ridiculous.
That's why we don't.
But it's gone on and on because it's like layers, you know. It's complex. It's not just, you know, okay, I've got an army of 1,000 ninjas and we're gonna come and get you, President Bush. You know, it's not that. I don't know. There's a reality to it, and then what they do is they tie into other conspiracy theories, like, for example, NASA and the moon landing. See, now all of a sudden that plays into it, and they start tying all these other things into it, and it gives it legitimacy.
And you mix it with a bit of mass marketing, Scott.
Very much so, Scotty, right?
Oh, definitely. And you're right, Joe. They interweave it into other topics, right? So people might be like looking into one thing and then all of a sudden they manage to like stumble upon that, right? So it you're right. It's this complex thing that it causes people to stumble upon it or fall into it. And then they use like confirmation bias and cherry picked sort of things to try and validate it, and it just suckers more people in. And so it's a really,
and because it ties into all those other things, they've got a steady stream of new people that buy into it.
Plus it's got that excitement factor as well, right? There's a bit of adrenaline, a bit of dopamine rush attached to it because it's exciting. Mass arrests coming at some point, you know, this happening, that happening behind the scene. And much like we see in the identity politics that we talk about a lot, guys, the whole gender Olympics, isn't it just another symptom of the fact that people are so desperate to be part of a group that they want to be a part of something, whether it's one of these identities, whether it's one of these groups that researches this, that, or the other, whether it's what we do. Everyone just is kind of searching for their own little tribe right now. And then, of course, you've got people out there that know that, and they try to take advantage of it, and they rope them in, and it ends up big money. And it ends up, though, it makes all of us look a little bit, I don't know, less legitimate. Wouldn't you say?
Well, that's the whole point. First of all, I mean, if you want to look at this from the angle of Psyops, which I totally think it's all Psyops. I think that 17th letter of the alphabet and the the supposed plane we all live on, right? That's all
flying frisbee.
MH370.
I think both of those things. I think both of those things are two of the biggest psyops that have ever been utilized against. I don't know whatever you want to call it, the quote unquote truther movement. You know, I hate trying to put a label on it, but you know, alternative media, whatever. But those two things are huge. Those are huge psyops, and it's all part of the cognitive infiltration that Cass Sunstein talked about, you know, back during the Obama era, and it's all there to discredit anybody that's questioning anything and actually looking into real legitimate issues and trying to bring the truth out. Then they can use those topics as straw men to point to and be like, look, oh, you question, you know, a certain event that happened in 2001. You must think that the earth is a frisbee, or you must be one of them crazy people who follow that 17th letter of the alphabet, right?
That's what ends up happening. Absolutely right.
Mm-hmm.
You're right.
So that's the state
that's
we're
why,
in.
That's why in 61, that's why it was like 61, 63-ish, in and around there, they were kicking around the whole conspiracy theorist label. And it was after JFK Kennedy got assassinated, right? And it was during his assassination investigation, the Warren Commission, that was kind of put out there for those that didn't believe the magic bullet theory. And that label ended up vilifying a lot of people.
Yeah, the CIA weaponized that term, conspiracy theories.
Yeah.
And they labeled anybody who questioned the official narrative a conspiracy theorist.
And so now you broaden that, right? Because if you take a look at anything that counters the official narrative or the propaganda, and let's not forget, at least be real. Here in the United States, it used to be illegal for propaganda campaigns to be a happening on U.S. soil, but the repeal of the Smith-Mundt Act made it legal again. Not that they weren't doing it anyway, but now at least they could do it without. I guess they could sleep better at night. And so these things happen, and their outlets are exactly the same outlets that a lot of people use to as like preparatory stuff for whatever it is they talk about or discuss. So they're getting the information from the propaganda outlets, and it's sowing discontent and it's sowing division and all this kind of stuff, and it's working. And that's why it's so important, I think, to kind of step back from the whole political thing and just say, you know what, I just don't consent, and there's no way to measure it. There's no way to really quantify it. So I'm just going to step back, not participate. It's the same kind of idea as everybody just saying, hey, you know what? We're all going to coordinate, and 2 weeks we're just not going to go to work. I mean, the country would just be destroyed, dude. I mean,
well, and that's what identity politics is, right? I mean, it's divide and conquer, which is
totally divide and conquer.
That's just another word for divide.
Divide, confuse, and conquer.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, to get everybody feeling like they're part of this tribe and that the other side, to dehumanize them and get everybody fighting with each other, and everybody's
and there's strength in numbers, right?
Yeah. And while everybody's bickering and bitching back and forth, the elite are sitting up there going, look, we got them all.
Yeah, but bitching and arguing back and forth over nothing. Over
all the wrong things.
Rubbish.
Yep, over all the wrong things.
Exactly.
Yep.
Exactly. And that's really what it's all about. So that's why it's so important that you keep your focus where your focus should be, and that's where you feel led. Your focus may be different than others. Like ours happens to be completely worthless shit, and and then we throw in some science to boot. But that's where we feel led to kind of go. It's a spiritual quest, a scientific quest, and a bullshit quest.
We're infoholics, man, and we like to have
absolutely.
That's all it is.
But there are other people that have feel led to go down different roads, and that's the beautiful thing. It's when you have to look at what your motivation is. And if your motivation is, I want to join this to feel like part of something, then it might not be for the right reasons. Whereas if you feel naturally led because you want to get active, and that's what your role is, that's where you find...
Joe, most people want to join a group that they're going to find that on social media they get lots of likes and shares.
Yeah, that's it. It's just a echo chamber.
Yep. Even most people going to protests nowadays, I would argue that they're going to protests to post pictures of themselves at protests for their social media.
Totally right.
Yeah.
I honestly do. That's the way society's gone.
Yeah.
Something happens to somebody in the street now, nobody runs over to help them. They're looking for their phone. They're wanting to film it.
Blows my fucking mind. I mean, I have to tell you, if I ever saw something, crazy going on, I would never think to reach for my phone. I mean, your instinct should be to get in there and help.
The brain has been unleashed.
Uh-oh.
They-
I didn't even realize. Let me tell you
Sorry.
something. No. I didn't even realize that we could rooker into this by simply putting it over
apologize.
the speaker, Kev.
Bullseye.
Oh, yes,
Yes.
indeed. Yes, I know a lot of the chat room are very keen for us to incorporate our female aspects, Joe, i.e. the other halves, you know. Anne's been a bit more public these days, a little bit. So now we're getting Ange the
No.
brain.
Let's get real. Her shoe has been more public.
You know, I do a lot of streaming, Joe. She comes sometimes and chills out when we're looking at some of the paranormal woo. People have actually seen her now. It's not, yep. Mm-hmm.
Wow.
That's a big step, see? Big step.
Yeah.
Yeah. So don't worry, folks. We're not going to make you sit through any of the dying throes of these conspiracies that we've been hinting and kind of pointing at in the opening of the show. We couldn't do that. To do that would almost be to keep them alive. Although I must admit, it's bloody comical to watch. Even you guys were
and let me tell
laughing.
you something. Good on Uni because he really does it in such an entertaining fashion. I really do enjoy watching that.
But I tell you what, another bit of woo that's always been around. It'll probably still be around a long time after we've left this plane. NiburWOO, boys, NiburWOO. It's back.
Oh, Nibiru.
Well, is it back? Can we say Planet Nine's NiburWOO?
Yeah.
A story about Planet Nine would count like that classes as NiburWOO. Here we go. And it's from your favorite.
Wait. But why can't Pluto be Planet 9?
I know. Maybe it stopped identifying as it. Maybe that was just a story that they declassified it. Maybe it sent like a signal to say, I don't feel like a planet
humans
anymore.
on Earth get to tell Pluto what it is?
And more to the point, do you think Pluto realizes and gives a shit?
Maybe Pluto does.
Maybe. Do you think like planets have emotions, Joe? Is that what we're saying here?
What I'm saying is that maybe Pluto is being, there's like an anti-planet crusade here going. And I don't know, but I think that that's kind of wrong, dude. We shouldn't do that.
Those pesky planetists, Scott.
They seem to never they can't seem to make up their mind, can they? Because now I think we have like someone from NASA, I think it's the head of NASA, saying, well, Pluto might be a planet and we might reclassify it as a planet or something.
Yeah.
It's like, come on, your mind. What's going on here?
Yes, no, yes, no, yes.
If it is a planet, then this is technically Planet 10. Because this is the one.
Planet X.
Planet X. So let's take a look at this, because in recent times, this has been the most serious attempt to track down or the discovery of something that could be a contender for Planet X, Nibiru, Nemesis. And it says here, you've always had the power, my dear. You just had to learn it for yourself. It's perhaps the most hated quote in The Wizard of Oz. Glinda the Good Witch tells Dorothy that she's had the power to go back to Kansas ever since she landed in Oz. No need for slippers, nunchucks, dumb scarecrows, flying monkeys, or a witch's broomstick. Hillary's got that anyway. A new study appears to do the same thing to astronomers, searching for the long-rumoured Planet 9, telling them they've had the data to locate it all along, or at least since the TESS Space Telescope was launched in April 2018. Incredulous astronomers, insulted by the insinuation that they have no hearts, no courage, no brains, and no common sense, are crying foul. But the study might be right. Click your heels 3 times and read on. So it says, given a known orbit, one can predict an object's location in a series of background subtracted TESS FFIs and sum the flux. To discover new objects with unknown trajectories, we can try all possible orbits. Now, in their study published this week in Research Notes of the AAS, the American Astronomical Society, Matthew J. Holman, Matthew J. Payne and Andras Pal introduced the idea that TESS, and it's called the Transiting Exoplanet Survey Satellite Space Telescope, which is currently looking for exoplanets using the transit method, watching for fluctuations in the light of a star that could be caused by a planet passing in front of it, may have in the process taken pictures of the hypothesized Planet 9. However, because its image is so faint and no one knows what its orbital path is, it can't be identified from a single frame. The good news is TESS has taken many, sometimes thousands of images of the same sky frame, which can be stacked on top of each other, a technique called digital tracking, which causes faint objects to appear brighter and has been used to discover trans-Neptunian objects or asteroids. And to test this theory, the researchers tried it with 3 known trans-Neptune objects: Sedna, 2015, BP 519, and another stupidly named one, which have an apparent near-infrared magnitude between 19 and 24, the magnitude many models show for the hypothetical Planet 9. So digital tracking found all 3, so it should be able to find Planet 9 by stacking all of the TESS's images and using software to sort through them. Now, guys, that's the bit there that I was hoping it would get to.
Yeah.
You see, the data for most things, right, whether it's Planet 9 or a whole heap of other things that we're about to uncover, it's already on servers and at radio telescopes around the world. It's the AI that's going to find it. And it's not just me saying that, Scott. I've said it to Dr. Brian Keating. He was down at the South Pole doing the bicep experiment. He's absolutely beside himself when he thinks about what AI can do with the data they've already got. Young Brendan Drackler, he's another one. It's already there. We just haven't spotted it, Scott. There's too much.
Right. So
and there's patterns. And there's patterns that we don't see.
Exactly. I mean, there's so many images that they have in the database that it would be pretty much impossible for a human to sort through it all and make sense of it all, right? And we're talking about very subtle differences that probably the human eye can't even detect. Very, very, slight variations in brightness, very slight, changes in like pixelation and just various different things. But boy, you pump thousands and thousands of images into a machine learning software, and it's able to pick out the most subtle differences, then it's going to go, okay, well, that right there, that's an object and it's moving in this direction because of the variation, the slight changes that we're seeing.
And Scott, it might even recognize a new way that we haven't even thought about. Like we look for perturbations, or when we're looking for planets transiting, it might find something totally new that. Yeah,
it might pick up on you're right. It might pick up on a completely different way of detecting these things that we had no idea. Like, oh, okay, well, did the AI figured out a totally new way of doing this? So, very interesting, and it'll be interesting to see what comes of this. Maybe they will be able to nail down that Planet 9 is out there.
And let's go a little bit woo on this, guys. I mean, Joe, Planet 9, Nibiru, wormwood, it appears in the Bible and things. This is where the Anunnaki, stuff like that may come from. I mean, we're talking like ancient woo that, like everything else, it's cyclical, perhaps.
Oh, yeah, man, no doubt. And especially if this is that famed Nibiru with a big orbit, now it's coming back full circle. Who knows, man? Who knows what it's all about? But I can tell you that there's certain validity to all of these ancient myths and legends. It's all true to a certain extent, and piecing all of these things together is what really gives you that complete picture. So you really can't poo-poo any of it,
I do poo-poo some of the Second Sun videos that we see. I do poo-poo that aspect of it.
Oh, the lens flare. Yeah, lens flare-a-palooza.
Yep.
I mean, come on.
That's where it starts getting ridiculous,
Especially
right?
when you start talking about the fact that this thing is supposed to be extremely dark. You know what I
No,
mean?
no,
It's
no,
like
no. Conveniently dark, Joe.
convenient.
Conveniently dark. You know.
Whatever you like to call
Mhm.
it. Yes. Yeah. Very much so. Yes.
Yes, that dark invisible object that it's coming
Dark,
soon.
invisible. But all of them look like a second sun. How is this thing supposed to be conveniently dark yet shine like a second sun?
Shh.
I don't get it.
And why?
Yeah.
Why in this day and age is there only people with like still image cameras taking images of it? Why can't they just switch it to video? Or would that prove that the lens flare flies about like an orb? Do you know what I mean?
See, and this is another example of something where it got taken to ridiculous levels, right?
Yeah,
and then
exactly.
And then it starts like poo-pooing on the whole sort of topic of it, because I remember how ridiculous it gets where people are overlaying different, like, basically Photoshop filters or camera filters, and they're like, see, you can see the Nibiru through the
Look at
the
what's
filter.
going on though. Big picture. The sun is quieting down more than we've seen, at least in my lifetime. And then and that's nothing. That's like not even the blink of an eye as far as the sun's concerned. But you also have the weakening of the magnetic field. You have the temperature shifts. You have the earthquakes. You have the volcanic activity. You have the hurricanes. You've got all of these things that are going on in parallel. And then you have, like you say, it's a cyclical type of thing. And is it tied to this planet coming into our solar system? We've got that asteroid belt. And how did that get there?
Good point. What was once there?
What was that truly that planet, or like Tiamat or whatever it was that got smashed up? Is that truly what the Sumerian? No, you look at the Sumerians and you look at like the Aztecs and their knowledge. There's no way that if we believe the way that we're taught as far as history goes, there's no way these people could have known with such accuracy a lot of the
and Joe,
astrological things.
Even if you take the aliens out of it, right? Take space visitors out of it, it kind of adds weight to that argument that we make that there's been many intelligent and technologically advanced cycles that have come and gone. And they could have got some of that information, that astronomical kind of knowledge and all the rest of it, the math, everything else as well back then. It could already have been left in some shape or form. It doesn't take ancient aliens per se. Yeah, everything's on the table.
Well, think about this. Yeah, you make a good point, because look at our version of humanity. We put seed vaults all over the world, the latest one being up in Norway.
Yeah.
But, you put it in the side of a mountain. So if should some cataclysm befall the earth, you would think at least one of those things survive. And then if, humanity does survive, you got to think that eventually one day it might get found. And if it does get found, you're right. It's almost like that Hall of Records or whatever.
Yeah. And I mean, you'd imagine that one of the underground bases as well, let's say cataclysm happens, but underground server farms, stuff like that. And again, it might not make much sense to the people that come after us the next cycle, but similarly, the crystal skulls that were left here, that you bring them together and they're set to unlock knowledge, and then you've got the Dropa stones that they found in Russia? They're like
that's right.
Perfect stone discs. Perhaps, we're looking at similar technology that stored data in the past, and we just don't know how to read it now. The same way as perhaps in the future, people won't know how to read our silicon-based stuff.
Yeah, that's very possible. Now, talking about Tiamat, now wasn't that the shimmering planet?
Oh, dude, this is where I get confused. I think it was. Was it not the watery one?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too. Yeah, I get confused with it as well. But if I remember correctly, I think Tiamat was like the shimmering water planet, and I think that there's, people have thrown out the the idea or the theory out there that that's where Earth got its salt water from. So I don't know. But I definitely think that there was some huge celestial object that had went through our solar system in the past. You know, whether Planet 9 is really, you know, Nibiru or, you know.
Put it this way, Scott. Nobody can say that it hasn't. There's no way of proving that it definitely isn't real. So that way you have to keep your mind open to it, you know?
And I think if you look at, you know, the texts from different cultures and a lot of the stories and stuff like that, I think there's a lot of evidence there to suggest that something did occur at some time, that there was a celestial object that came through our solar system and wreaked havoc, you know, and caused a cataclysm on the planet.
And I'm somebody that goes with, and I've seen ZX81 saying this in the chat earlier, I go along the kind of lines of the electric universe. And when you look at the Thunderbolts project, Scott, they talk about the ancient sky. It was an alien sky, because Saturn at one point was like the main sun. And then you had this alignment with the planets, and you had plasma exchanges. And if we were to go back and see that now, it would literally be like we're not even on Earth anymore, because the heavens are not going to be the same way that we recognize them now.
No, I mean, even if you go back just a couple thousand years, right? The constellations and the stars were all located in different places in the sky, right? That's why a lot of these ancient sites, they were built at the time to align with certain celestial things occurring, but they don't line up anymore because the sky's different now, right? So
joys of flying through space on a rock, clinging to it like a flea on the back of a hypersonic dog, man. That's what we're like, Scotty boy. I'm telling you. Don't worry about it, folks. Don't sit and think to yourself right now we're flying at like 60,000 kilometers per hour through space. Don't think about that. Might get a little bit roller coaster sickness, Scotty boy.
Yeah, we're just hurtling through space at an incredible speed that is crazy to even fathom or to even imagine, right? You think about the speed that the Earth is like rotating around the sun, but then you have to factor in the speed in which the entire solar system is hurtling around the galaxy. I mean, isn't that just, it's like mind-boggling to even...
It's usually about that point I kind of stop, spark up a doober, yeah, and I kind of just throw it all out there to the universe. What can you do, man? Just sit back and enjoy the ride. Enjoy the ride, as Bill Hicks would say.
Yes, enjoy your travel through the galactic plane, my friend.
Smoke weed every day.
And that sure helps. It surely does. Surely does.
That will definitely help the ride.
Oh, we have got a new KBSer coming in hot.
Really? Oh boy.
Finney Kelly. You sound like the name of an Irish giant, doesn't it? Finney Kelly.
He sounds like an Irish giant.
That's awesome. Thank you so much, Finney. That's awesome.
I didn't realize there were giants in Ireland.
Oh, dude, there was like
or Scotland for that matter.
Dude, look, hang on a minute, right? Hang on a minute. Listen. We have got something called... Don't
you guys wear shoes with no socks and...
Some of them do. Know. They're called soy boys. Do I look soy? Look at this here. Look, see this? See this? This is called the Giant's Causeway. And this was caused when two giants, one in Ireland, one in Scotland, had a big fight. And they started lobbing these stones at one another. Yeah, don't worry about the perfect, like, geometrical shape of the things or anything. How beautiful is that? But that's what our giants get up to. They play giant games of Jenga.
Dude, it's so crazy. They're like, look,
whoa,
hey, disco.
Whoa, we got two. All right.
Dang, dude. That's awesome.
That's fantastic. The brain wants everybody to know that the Giants' Causeway is actually giants remains themselves. Yes.
Tell me what
What part of a giant's is that his hairdo?
What's that?
Is like a giant from Minecraft? Is that his hairdo?
Dude, let me tell you something. That is quite the
Beautiful, isn't
formation.
it? It's beautiful, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, no, she found that YouTube channel, Mud Fossil University, and it's pretty fascinating stuff.
I know you're into that, Joe. I know you're into that, but that starts getting into like
Don't
big.
knock it till you try it.
No, I tried it early on when people started saying Devil's Rock was the stump of a big tree. You know that one out of the movie?
Which one's that?
Close Encounters of the Third Kind, Devil's Rock.
Oh, yeah.
There's people claim that's like the stump of an ancient tree. I don't know. It doesn't work for me.
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah. I don't know. It didn't work for me. Hey, just because I say it didn't work for me, that means nothing.
No, I get it.
I just think that these formations here, they're like, oh, that's a natural formation. Yeah, I don't know about.
Yeah, it's all good. It's all good, dude.
It's kind of like the remember the formation that they found out off the coast of Japan, where it's like perfect 90-degree blocks and all of that stuff, and they're like, oh, it was just wave action and a natural formation. It's like, dude, no way. So I think some of these are kind of ridiculous for them to say it's a natural formation.
Yeah. They'll come up with anything though, Scott. Anything. Just convince enough people of the lie and just move on. And just keep repeating the lie, Scott. And eventually it becomes a fact.
I mean, there are instances in nature where you do see geometric shapes, obviously. I mean, look like a snowflake or crystals forming and things like that. But a rock formation that is like a perfect honeycomb shape over such a large area, it's like, I don't know about all that.
No, because it's not. It has nothing to do with like, oh, this formed over billions of years and everything else. No, it didn't. And that's the thing is like, a lot of these things, if you test them and you get it tested for like DNA material, you'll find it. It'll come back positive for DNA. It's pretty interesting how these formations themselves are quite organic. They're organic. Even like Kent Hovind, when he was doing his Dinosaur University or whatever it was, he had like a Dino Adventureland. Oh, what do we got? A super chat en route.
On the Venga bus, can we listen to the hamster dance?
Yes, we certainly can. The Venga bus. I love the Venga bus.
We can listen to whatever you want on the Venga bus.
That's right. No, it was Dinosaur Adventureland. And he actually took pickles, like, regular deli pickles, and he fossilized it over that's 3, dude. We just had another one.
Excellent.
Wow. Kev steps away and things are just going crazy.
Yeah.
So no, he actually fossilized these pickles within a very short period of time. And it just goes to show that organic matter does not take a very long time to turn to stone. It really doesn't. It really doesn't. So then you take a look at all the burial mounds and all of these formations that oftentimes resemble giants or giant. You got to believe your eyes. You're actually seeing these remains. And so like people like that guy from Mud Fossil University, he actually is getting them DNA tested and no shit. It's coming back like, bing, he's got certificates of it. It's crazy crap. And it just goes to show you that it doesn't take very long at all for organic matter to turn to stone. Yeah, it's all from the flood.
Yeah, and Kev, while you're away, we got another super chat.
Another member.
We only need 5.
A super chat.
We only need 5, boys, and then we unleash the Mothman. Yes, indeed. So tell me, what's the name of this website? What's the name of this dude that you're on about, Joe? Let's take a look.
It's Mud Fossil University. He's pulling it up. Would you stop it? My cat is
Scratching itself.
be a full moon or something.
Damn.
Hello again.
So it's a
He
good.
is the John King.
Totally John.
He's the John King of science.
So what's a quick one to look at then, Joe?
I wish I could help you right now. My cat's killing me.
Let's see. What's this? The atomic KT layer mystery?
Hold on, the brain's gonna tell you in just a minute.
Okay, here it is right here. This is the impact layer right here. The boundary layer is kaolinite clay. Now, how did that get there? It's right over the top of coal, which is, coal is carbon. Carbon is the remains of cellular membranes. And then all of the organic volatile stuff goes away and the membranes remain, and they were crushed and destroyed as the floodwaters settled on the land and washed
the brain
all
says
of the...
go to the one that says mud fossil
DNA
certified by Harvard.
And
That's a
Max
good one.
Planck University is
Like Max Planck or something. I can't remember.
yeah, Harvard.
Mud fossil, what is it? Certified?
DNA certified.
DNA certified
by Harvard.
by Harvard. There you go, right there.
Hello again, my friends. It's Roger from Mud Fossil University with some outstanding news. Harvard and Max Planck working...
By the way, folks, I'm going to give you this guy's link here in the chat room for you all to check out. This is Mud Fossil University. I'll subscribe for now, Joe. For now. I'm yet to be convinced. Here we go.
in the silent zone, apparently, have been working on mud fossil DNA. And they have certified everything the Mud Fossil University has been saying about the mud and the DNA that is in the mud that erodes from mud fossils. And we have the mud fossils, and they are here. So, in all practical effect, mud fossils have been completely validated. And you go to Mud Fossil University on YouTube, and you will see all the different types of things that we have to offer with a complete scientific validation. The CAT scans, DNA, we've done 3 DNA tests, 7 CAT scans, anatomy, chemistry. So anyway, here's what, this is the website to go to mudfossils.com, and this is the, back here at mudfossils.com, if you scroll down over here is the DNA lab report. You click that and you go into the DNA lab report. And it goes through, it's very...
Well, already I'm kind of impressed, because usually 9 times out of 10, these claims that are made, there's not a link in sight. So usually it's already, Joe, I'm semi kind of impressed.
Very detailed. And there was 3 different mud fossils tested, and they tested all human DNA, 100% human, and I have all videos on all this stuff. And
wouldn't the giants not be human DNA though?
Hold on, the brain's talking to me here. Why don't you tell Kev,
Okay.
right?
That DNA certification he got done at Harvard and Max Planck was a 36-inch wide human fingertip. He drilled into the arterial blood supply deep into the finger, got out the blood. He had to go through antiquity specifications and followed strict surgical routine. Submitted it, and it came back certified as human DNA. A 36-inch wide fingertip.
And why wouldn't?
How does he know it's a fingertip though?
What did he say?
He said, "How do you know it's a fingertip?"
He's done numerous videos on it. You can see it. You can still see the skin.
You can see like the skin on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
you can see the fingernail.
The fingernail and all.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting
He's got
stuff.
most of the hand.
But think about it. If it's pre-flood, and the atmospheric pressure is different, legend says that there was an ice canopy around the planet, and that this ice canopy was shattered when Tiamat, or that planet, the water planet, smashed into the earth or whatever. That's the Sumerian version of it. So let's just say whatever happened, whatever cataclysm happened at that point in time, destroyed the ice canopy. But before that, you have to think that this ice canopy had a effect on atmospheric pressure, on oxygen content, because everything was just so much more bigger. You know, all the plants were bigger. So you look at all of the stuff, the remains in the current, you know, all the archaeological findings and all the core samples and things like that, and things were just much more big. The oxygen was richer, so things lived longer and they got bigger, especially reptiles, because reptiles don't ever stop growing. So if they live for 1,000 years, you know, and the same with humans. Humans were much bigger.
Used to live 1,000 years.
And they used to live 1,000 years. So,
This was before the
you know, that was before the whole
Giants.
cataclysm.
That was before
And the
giants.
Bible itself, if you just use the Bible alone, speak of giants as tall as 500 feet. 500-foot tall giants. That's huge, dude. You know? So, if it walks like a duck and quacks like a duck, it's a duck.
That channel talks about.
But if it's human DNA, that means we're Nephilim then.
Oh, well, of course we're going to have, it's not so much that we're Nephilim, but we're certainly descendants of these, of what do you say, like giants? Because, again, if we live pre-flood, everything was
Yeah,
different,
the giants had half human DNA.
you know? And the giants had half human DNA
Yeah.
because they're descended from
Yes.
the whole Nephilim thing. So, yeah.
Yeah,
It's just
because
crazy.
if they breeded with humans, then obviously we would be carrying their DNA.
At least
Right.
to some
Right,
extent.
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah, to some extent. Yeah.
That's what he's verified
Yeah.
with labs.
Yeah. So the nice thing about that guy is he's actually getting the work done to actually back up
Scientifically.
what he's saying, and that's what's kind of important to.
And I do have to mention, he does kind of sound like John King.
He
don't
sounds just like John King.
Very.
It's like, oh, this is murder to get through, but boy,
Fascinating.
but it is. It's fascinating stuff, and to think that there's so much in plain sight, hidden in plain sight. It's really unbelievable. It truly is, but cool nonetheless. And also, it gives us a clearer picture into why they teach something so ridiculous in schools now. I mean, it's totally different than anything realistic. I mean, reality has no bearing on the history you learn in school.
Oh,
None.
hell no.
But I mean, it is nowhere near. And you'd think there'd be a little bit of truth in it,
He knows where
but
Atlantis is.
but there's none.
He knows where Atlantis is.
Yeah, yeah.
Where is it? Where's Atlantis? You can't just drop that.
Yeah, no, he wants to know what. Now you just opened up.
You see, if this guy's making claims like he knows where
The eye
Atlantis
of
is.
the Sahara. You know how it's the eye of the Sahara thing.
Yeah, that's a
Okay.
good theory.
Yeah.
It's a good candidate. I think it's definitely a good candidate for.
I think it's a great candidate personally. Yeah, but
But
again, you know, think about it.
Done some great videos
If
on
that stuff is look at that, it's beautiful. But if you know, when the flood happens and you don't know what it is that really triggers what the events are that happen, but if there's any crustal shifts, you know, you could have that.
You can see all around it.
Yeah,
Well,
we would have mentioned that that the eye of the Sahara, it's not just that's where Atlantis was. We're talking about just one single.
Right. Atlantis was a world dominating empire.
Yeah, exactly. So we're just looking at one city of the Atlantean
Yeah, right.
Empire, because that was the that's how they built their cities. They
Yeah,
built.
look at how deep it is. If you look at how much of the desert collapsed around it, I mean, that is some
You can see
deep.
how it all ran off.
It all just kind of ran off.
They think that's what made those little islands
Wow.
off the coast.
That's just so impressive. If you ask me, I mean,
if you look at it like on Google Earth or something, in fact, that picture down there towards the bottom right there,
it almost looks like a flying saucer crashed.
You could see like at one point where the ocean may have come up to it, that it was along a coastline, and then that it was built up on higher elevation, and that the sand would be where the ocean once was, and so it would have been like a port city if you want to think of it that way, which would make a lot of sense, right? You know, if they're a world dominating empire, you would have
port cities, sure.
Yeah. So just very, very interesting stuff. And, you know, once again, they go, oh, that's just a natural formation where the,
well, you know, like they talk about Pangea, right? And so when Pangea is around, if you will, that was pre-flood Earth because there were no oceans on the planet at that time. You know, there were no large bodies of water. It was all underground. So, you know, like I said, everything about the atmosphere, it didn't rain pre-flood. It just was like a mist or a dew. Yeah. You know, a constant type of mist. So everything was vastly different. Oxygen levels. Yeah, everything was all out of whack compared to how it is now. So, you know, everything's different. It's crazy.
Very different. Big time. All I know is it was nothing like what we were told. That much I can confirm. The rest, who knows? It's all open to debate, right?
But it is a very striking similarity, you know.
That's one of my, like, when I've seen it on, it was a channel called Brightside. He does a lot of the ancient woo, and when I seen it, it was startling. Really, really good contender for it, man.
And I like how you were showing the picture of the kind of representation of what an Atlantean city looks like in comparison to and it's just like, yeah, I mean, come on, yeah, like right there.
I mean, it certainly fits the description.
Certainly fits. So, I definitely think we're looking at a contender here, and I think those were located all over the planet.
Yeah. Well, no different than pyramids.
Once I get the time machine sorted, boys, once I get the time machine, I will go back. I will...
But isn't it interesting, you know, how you have pyramids all over the world? Here we are so focused on these three in Egypt, but there's thousands of them everywhere.
Well, yesterday I brought up the one that we haven't looked at in a while. The Bosnian pyramid. Somebody in the chat room had asked me about that. There we go. Videos, see if there's any recent ones.
When most of us think pyramids, we think...
Not looking good. That's looking like a copy strike right there.
Nah.
Yeah, I was going to warn you on that one.
Far too well produced. You know what I mean? Update 2019. Minute of this.
But Grammarly can help.
Oh, please. There we go.
Pyramids. Update 2019.
Okay, folks, this is a channel called Jani Beram. I'll subscribe him, definitely. I'll send you a link. I'll send the video link as well, and we'll just watch a couple of minutes of it, see what he says. But this is Dr. Samir Osmanagic. Yes, Osmanagic, I think it is.
This is a project that includes several aspects. The first one is archaeology. Archaeology has been our main focus from the year 2005 and 2006, when it became the most active archaeological site in the world. And we've been keeping this pace. In 2019, during the winter and spring, our full-time workers were working mostly in the tunnels. I'm saying tunnels because it is not only one tunnel anymore. Before it was underground labyrinth ramble. So we were working there.
So what do you think, guys? Do you think these tunnels that they're digging out are actual tunnels, or are they misinterpreting natural rock formations? I think it's totally a pyramid, by the way.
It's a pyramid, bro.
Yeah.
It's a pyramid.
I think it's a
No
pyramid.
doubt.
But I know that's one of the things that even some of the alternative, like, scientists and archaeologists out there, they've got a real problem with this location. It's really controversial. And that's one of the things they say, you know, when they're digging in there, it's almost as if they're just following the path of least resistance and then making the tunnel themselves. But that doesn't prove there was ever a tunnel in the first place. And I know it sounds ridiculous, but you know how we look at all sides of everything. And there's paving stones. I mean, the paving stones, they say they're natural. I don't know. They look very perfectly kind of grouted and all lined up to be kind of natural to me. Nature doesn't usually work as perfectly as that, Scott, that it just produces a nice path up the side of a naturally forming pyramid with natural tunnels, you know?
Yeah, I mean, this is another example of them just saying, oh, it's a natural formation. You know, and it's like, well, okay, but why is it so perfect? Why is it? No, it's just a natural formation. Be quiet. Stop asking questions.
Come on, that there, Scott. I mean, that's perfectly normal.
Oh,
that's perfectly normal, that.
Hey, come on.
You know, that there, look.
You know, because I guess, you know, nature likes to lay bricks.
But they'll use the argument. But listen, guys. But listen, they'll use this argument, the Giant's Causeway. Because that doesn't exactly look too natural either, right? So, again, I think it's pyramidal. You know I do. I'm there.
Oh, I'm totally on board with the Bosnian pyramid being
a pyramid.
Yeah.
Straight up.
Guys, been one of many pyramids. You go to China, there's like reports from back in the day. It's black and white photos anyway. And this dude that flew over, he said that this thing made the Giza pyramid look like a toy. It's massive. And it wasn't the only one. So that's China. You've got down in Antarctica, arguably.
Right.
Yep, arguably pyramids. And who knows where else around the world? Because when you look at the Bosnian one there, and how it's kind of almost naturally been covered over, and you think of somewhere like Göbekli Tepe, which was deliberately covered over, who knows? Who knows what still might be below the ground?
Yeah, and Toter in the chat, you know, he's like, Egyptologists are closed-minded to any of the timelines that, you know, divert from their own, you know.
And you've got, I mean, they've built careers, Scott. They've built careers and books, and that's why, you know, the ones that have been at it the longest are sometimes the hardest to be able to change the way they look at it, because it'll totally discredit the work that they've done before.
Yeah, it shatters their paradigm and it ruins everything that they have, you know, that they've done. And it's not just Egyptologists, it's mainstream archaeology in general. You know, the entire field. You present any sort of information that you know, counters what they've been teaching all these years and what they've been pushing, they don't accept it. They are not willing to accept that, oh, maybe what we've been taught or what we've been teaching everyone might be wrong. You know, and that's just a trait. That's just a flaw that humanity has, where we don't like to admit we're wrong. You know.
Yeah.
That's because I'm never wrong. That's because I'm never wrong.
Face. We hate losing face.
Yeah, that's because I'm never wrong. Here we go.
But also, we discovered around 2 tunnels, around 3 tunnels, and healing tunnels. So the last 3 tunnels are on our properties, Foundation's properties. So we still work on Ravne tunnels, and right now we have 2 directions going to the south where we do the work. And roughly we have shortened our way from the entrance to the pyramid for about 650 meters.
I don't want to play too much of that, folks, so again, I'll drop it in the chat room. I urge you all to check that out. I'll certainly be watching the rest of that later. But yeah, very interesting that they're still making new discoveries, because that was like July this year. So they're still uncovering new tunnels by the sounds of it,
I'd
guys.
imagine that they're going to find a lot because those things are so big.
Yep. Huge.
I mean, 650 meters, dude. You know, think about that. A kilometer's 1,000 meters. That's big.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You got to wonder how many pyramids are actually out there that haven't been discovered or are mistaken for mountains.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
How many are in the ocean? How many are covered in ice, like, you know, Antarctica, for example? Just these crazy areas that we haven't had access to, or we just don't realize that.
Scott, I'm telling you, when we go full Star Trek, I honestly think that's going to be the common architecture on any world that has oxygen and life supporting kind of conditions. It's going to be the thing. Maybe that's the Stargate that we've been talking about, you know, that they got from A to B across unfathomable and untravelable distances in the universe. Maybe it's sitting right there in front of us.
And there is something to the pyramidal shape, right? I mean, there really is sort of a scientific validation that it does channel energy, right? That it does focus energy at its apex.
Yep.
So obviously, you know, it is going to be interesting when we do reach that level. Say we are starting to go off world and everything. And it just so happens coincidentally that we start using pyramidal shapes for outposts and colonies and all that stuff. It'd be like, really? Wonder why we chose that shape.
Telling you, dude, they're already out there. Our ones are quite young compared to the ancient pyramids that are out there somewhere. Although I think they might have disconnected our Stargate hotline right now. Come on, really? Do you want... Do planets want us going out there and forcing our mindset upon them? Do they want us confusing their young aliens, Scott? Really? These planets have got enough problems of their own. Do they need us confusing them and dividing them and brainwashing them and lying to them about everything? And you know, when all that's done, let's just have a war. Let's fight each other and kill each other.
And vaporize our, and then make the whole place radioactive.
It wouldn't have been a hard decision to make, you know, like the cantina scene in Star Wars. Yeah, these humans, can we not just cut them off? No brainer, cut them off.
Then if you want to go, you know, full conspiratorial and, you know, why is the pyramid such a symbol that is used by the elites, right? You know, the Illuminati.
Why do you think I use it as my logo, man? I'd have to kill you if I told you.
See, you know, and you see the rays of light shooting out of the apex and all of that good stuff. It's that occulted knowledge, my friend. They know what the power of the pyramid holds.
Well, you're going to get the Shadow Man visiting you tonight now, Scotty boy.
Oh, boy. No Shadow Man for you.
Oh, black helicopter, Shadow Man abseiling down. Fucked.
Come on, bring it, Hat Man. I'm ready.
Yeah. See, you don't want to be playing about with stuff like that, dude. It was Susie today. Hang on, wait till I try and dig this up. Talking of Hat Man. Where are we now? Hang on. There it is. Yeah, check this out, guys. It's a weird one. Need to get it here. There we go. This is the make of a drink in Portugal, I think. Check that dude out.
Wow.
The Hat Man's a drunk.
The Hat Man's a drunk.
Yeah, man, he's got his own spirit.
Well,
he does.
There you
the
go.
spirit has a spirit.
Maybe if you take that bottle into your house, it's like a
and you
thought
rub it
form.
3 times like Scotty's sock.
Scott, come on. Nobody's rubbing it anymore, Joe. Nobody's rubbing it anymore. Owen Benjamin has put a stop to everyone rubbing the genie. Big O Benj has stopped thrapping worldwide, so nobody's rubbing nothing.
Right.
Nobody's rubbing no lamps, no genies, no nothing, dude.
No,
Okay.
nothing.
Yeah.
It smells rotten around here.
Will we move into some funny stuff? We must have some funny stuff here. We must have, surely. Anything else to say on the pyramids before we move on, boys?
No, by all means.
Are you sure now? You sure? Try to think, what else have we got? We've got heaps in the bag. Where are we?
We're it's times like this where I kind of wish we had old Ken Webb pull something out of the hat. Remember he had the hat?
The hat. But maybe it was the hat man's hat.
All right, hold on. Let's see.
This is a weird thing, though. This is a weird thing, right? I mean, I think these gender reveal things are weird anyway at the best of times. It's a new thing, right? But this one, I actually think this one was quite funny. Now, I'm not going to show the video because it's been bought up by one of the viral companies. But it says, women's gender reveal video is so gross, it might end the trend for good. This is actually one of the better ones I've seen. Oh, get away from that. There's a picture of it, though, folks. Don't worry. So here she is, the young expectant mum. And the way she reveals, the big reveal, the big aha moment, yeah, she farts it out. Nice. That's a bit different, boys, eh?
Something smells rotten around here.
Yeah, I'll say. Wow, are you kidding me? She farted it out?
She farted it out, dude. All right, come on, and we'll take the hit. It'll just be a third party. We'll have a look. Hang on, we'll have a look. Let's go back. Let's see. See if it plays. Got a funny feeling it won't. It usually takes a second to play on here. But
oh my God.
Come on, that's a novel way. I've never seen it done that way before.
Of course, right, sure.
It's still gonna play. Don't here it comes. Here it comes. Yes.
Well, now. This is getting out of hand. This is getting totally out of control.
It's just crazy, man.
I told you before, what happened to the good old-fashioned gender reveal where the doctor's like, "Congratulations, Mrs. Johnson, it's a boy." Or, "Congratulations, it's a girl." That's the
that
old
wasn't
school.
enough, apparently.
I guess not.
Not enough. No. Crazy. No. But that's the new thing, right? It's a new thing.
Yeah, it is. And it's also quite a thing with our trans friends who like to decide that they're going to do a gender reveal whenever they're deciding to transition.
Don't start me, Scott. Since we've had gender reveal lasagnas, a hippo helping with a gender reveal, and one which sparked a wildfire causing $6 million. I don't know why I laughed there. $6 million worth or pounds worth of damage. But it turns out we hadn't seen anything until today. A comedian has recently made her own parody gender reveal video in which she uses a bodily function to inform the viewers of the baby news. So Paige Jin, who is known for making videos of herself fake falling over in public, has shared a clip in which she lies on the floor half naked, concentrating intently for a few seconds before releasing a fart and a cloud of blue smoke along with it. The clip then cuts to three women who are incredibly excited by the fact it's a baby boy. The video has been viewed on Facebook more than 17 million times, was also uploaded to her Instagram, Twitter and YouTube accounts where she is.
It is the joke that never gets old.
Hey, dude, I tell you what, man. I tell you what, if it's going to get me 1 million views, I'll fart any colour you want out my tuchus. I'll go full LGBT and I'll give you a rainbow fart if that's what it takes to get the 1 million views. I swear, man. I'm all inclusive, Joe. You know that. I'm a really open-minded soy guy. So it says here, viewers had mixed responses to the whole thing, with some finding it hilarious. And of course, there were some people that were offended and grossed out. One person said, cannot stop watching or laughing. Well, a couple of times is enough. It's a bit disturbing. Any more than 5 times, do you think, Scott? I mean, there must be a limit where it goes beyond being funny and then into the realms of being creepy. Now you're just sitting watching a half-naked woman farting. What's that all about? You're about 2 weeks away from a traffic cone if you're finding that any way erotic. I would imagine. Yeah.
That video could have gone horribly, horribly wrong if something other than blue powder came out.
I don't think she was. Was it a race reveal? Terrible. Says, I hope this video has made. I hope this video was made to poke fun at all the over-the-top gender reveal parties. If not, this is disturbing, proclaimed a third. Move on if it disturbs you. Someone else was very unimpressed with the reveal they wrote. I honestly think there's nothing funny about the video. People are desperate and have no self-respect these days. They'll do anything to get views and attention on Facebook, but I think that was this comedian's whole point, Scott, wasn't it? It's like, it is ridiculous, these reveal parties, and it says itself, it was a parody, you know? She's pulling the piss out of how far people go with it.
Yeah, I mean, if that's her angle with it, then she did pretty good. She did a pretty good job.
Exactly. It's far better than me sitting ripping it apart, for an hour and a half on a stream or something.
Yeah.
Nothing says it quite like a blue fart.
But these things have gotten completely ridiculous, like they mentioned in the article, and what we were talking about before, right? Where you've had people dying because of these gender reveals. You've had planes crashing, wildfires getting started. I mean, what the hell? Some people just take things way too far.
Cosmos Kramer in the chat, dude, whether she faked the smoke coming out her arse or not, do you not get it? It's a parody. She isn't even pregnant. She's pulling the piss out of gender reveal parties. So whether it was fake or she really farted it is actually quite irrelevant. It's the point she was trying to make, dude. That's what's funny. That's what I think's funny anyway. I don't think it takes anything away if she turns around and says, tomorrow, well, we CGI'd in the smoke. Well, who cares? It was a joke. It was funny. You're trying to pull the piss out of it. You don't have to have the smoke in there.
Yeah, right.
NASA did it, Kev. NASA did it.
Well, it must be fake. If it was NASA, you know it's fake, right? You know it. Got to be. But what else have we got here? What else have we got, boys? Come on. We must have more insanity kicking about here. Oh, yeah, we do. Scott, Joe, you did tell me that Florida man was a thing, right? But you never told me that Florida woman was a thing as well.
Oh, my. Oh, my.
Every good Florida man's got to have a good Florida woman at his side, so.
Yeah.
Well, a Florida woman has been arrested for biting her boyfriends, Jim and the twins, out of frustration. Yes, indeed. Oh, this is going to be an eye tingle, an eye waterer. A Florida woman has been arrested for biting her boyfriend's flappy bit out of frustration. Esperanza Gomez, 33, she's a Mason. She must be an Eastern Star. Lothar, you watching her? Was drinking beers with her boyfriend until the early hours of Wednesday morning, November 13th, in an apartment on Miami Beach. Now, according to the report, another woman arrived at the apartment around midnight before leaving sometime before 3 a.m. It's unclear whether the woman was a friend of Gomez or her boyfriend or both. But after their guest left, Gomez became angry and accused her partner of wanting to have sex with the woman. Oh, I can see where this is going. According to the police report, the 30th, she's got crazy eyes, man. Oh, we're on the hot crazy index, Scott. Very crazy. According to the police report, the 33-year-old grabbed her boyfriend by his arms, yelled at him, and began to poke him with a knife. Dang, this has escalated pretty quick, right? The man asked Gomez to stop and threatened to call the police if she didn't. When the police arrived, the boyfriend claimed his partner also, quote, bit his manly parts out of frustration. And according to the police report, the man was found to have red marks and redness on his upper chest, but thankfully he had no substantial injuries. She was arrested, assault with a deadly weapon and battery, and her bond set at $6.5K. Dang. So it says, unfortunately, this isn't the first time a man has been victimised in this manner. Earlier this year, a woman chopped off her ex-husband's Tackle, yes, Jim and the twins.
Ouch.
They got sacrificed.
Wow.
Yeah, Miss Lee, 58, attacked her man as a revenge for him cheating on her when they were married. After learning about his infidelity, the woman reportedly used a pair of sharp scissors to cut off her man's offending parts.
By the way, this is after they've been divorced for a while, I guess.
Yeah, leaving him with just 1 centimetre of flesh. So she cut it in half then. She then threw his genitals in the toilet before dousing them in acid. Oh, come on, that's going a bit over the top.
Wow.
So that's vengeance and flushing them away. I mean, come on.
She wanted to make sure that there was no way that there was going to be any sort of surgical reattachment or anything.
She went nuclear,
boy,
man.
Oh boy, if you douse it in acid, then flush it down the toilet, I'd have to say it's fairly certain that you're not going to recover.
Oh, you better believe it. The man was later taken to hospital where he was said to be in a stable condition. If you've been affected by any of the issues in this article and wish to speak to somebody, yeah, because I'm sure there's absolutely heaps of people out there right now thinking about that time they almost lost their penis in an acid accident.
Oh God, yeah, it must affect them really bad, dude. You got to think about that. That's pretty
You
traumatic.
know who might be,
You know
who's going to be affected the most here? I bet you it's going to be somebody that doesn't even have a penis. It's going to be some woman that'll be offended by it somewhere, probably.
Hey, you never know. John Wayne Bobbitt may have came across this article, and hey, that could trigger some flashbacks, I would say. You think?
The Bobbitt. No good, man. No good. No good. So yeah, again, we go back to my dating tips. Be very, very careful, guys. Very careful.
On the
if you can't be careful, don't get caught.
On the Crazy Hot chart, you just got to refer to the Crazy Hot matrix, and that is where it's located up in the bunny in the pot, tires slashed.
Upper echelon crazy.
On crazy.
Yeah, she is nothing less than a 9 on the crazy scale. And remember, all women start at a 4. That's the base level, remember. Superb. And just sitting probably like, I'll kill that Kev Baker.
Yeah,
what's he saying?
She's not appreciating this at all right now.
No? Why not? Why not?
Yeah, why not? Oh boy, don't get her started.
Oh no.
Don't start her. Let's move on then. Let's see what else we've got here.
Did you guys see the story about the wild boars that snorted 17,000 pounds of cocaine they found hidden in the forest?
I did. I seen it earlier on, but I've lost it. My tab.
Here, let me send you the.
I've got it.
You got it? Okay, it says a group of drug dealers have been left 17,000 pounds out of pocket after their stash was destroyed by a group of wild boars. They're believed to have buried the drugs in the forest in Tuscany to prevent them from being found by police. However, wild boars dug up the packages that were found scattered around the woods. It's not known how the animals coped with the come down. Police knew about the drug-taking hogs after listening in to a telephone conversation between alleged dealers, in which they were heard complaining about the boars in the Vladchinia Valley. That phone call led to the detention of 3 Albanians and an Italian, with 2 jailed and 2 others placed under house arrest. The gang allegedly traded 4.5 pounds of coke every month in nightclubs in the city of Arezzo. The drug dealers are not the only people concerned about the number of wild boars in Italy. Farmers, they're unhappy with the damage that they're being caused to their land, while drivers have reported issues and accidents in the roads around Italy. They're responsible for about 10,000 accidents every year. So now they're coked up wild boars. So you have to imagine that there's probably all sorts of violence and
big time, dude.
Or sleeping with dogs and oh my god!
This is how the chupacabra got made,
debauchery. Man. Think of the debauchery going around with coked out boars. Oh my god!
Can you imagine like walking through the forest and all of a sudden you just have this like coked up boar just fly out of the bushes and just charging at you?
Its chin's wobbling from side to side. It's grinding its teeth. It's looking for a dance. It's annoying as hell. Charlie under its nose. Come on, boars. What you doing, man?
Hey, wild boars are also an issue in Texas, like big time. Like, like it's a huge problem, and so a lot of like ranches and stuff out there, they have like you can pay, and they'll take you up in a helicopter, and you get to snipe boars from a helicopter in Texas. Yeah,
Only in Texas, man. Only in Texas.
My dad and brother are actually thinking about going down there next year and going on a boar hunt.
What about? Do they do
so
a
many
gay
of them.
frog tour as well? Can we go hunting gay frogs when we're down there? I heard they're like right wild round the Austin area. It's meant to be like open season, Scotty.
Maybe.
They're all sitting there farting rainbow colours and hey, and drinking soy and snorting coke and
I'll have to check documents and I'll get back to you.
check the documents. Where are we going for one last one? Or are we going to go for one last ridiculous story before our time is up? Sound good?
Yeah.
Let's see it. I've got the most... this takes it to new levels again, boys. New levels. What the fuck is wrong with people? Because a boy stuck 31 magnetic balls...
What is this kid thinking about?
...up his wiggly bit, which got stuck in his bladder for 70 days. Or at least that's what he's admitting to anyway. And yet, what is wrong with people? Why?
How does one stick 31 magnetic balls up one's...
How does one stick one up there, Joe? It's something I've never pondered before in my life.
Ouch.
It's wrong. Lucky didn't work.
I've got balls of steel.
Balls of steel, you say?
Literally, Scotty, he does have them. Yep, he literally has that.
Balls of steel.
You gotta be shitting me, Joker.
Well, that's what he's been doing. Says here, 12-year-old boy. The child said he forced him up there while exploring his anatomy. He was rushed to the hospital.
What will boys not do with their penises?
Can I have a couple of weeks to think about that one? I know there's something somewhere, Ange. I know. I know one time there was something I refused to do with it, but I don't know. But no, this is just, I don't know. It's just bizarre, right?
Yeah.
I hope they didn't X-ray it.
Oh, that's China.
Yeah. Yeah, it's over there, man.
Oh, this was
those crazy Chinese again.
Oh, hang on. Wait a minute. Right. Now that it's in China, this explains it. Pray tell, boys. Is this like common practice over there? Am I like missing out?
Well, the thing is that I've seen a lot of weird stories like this coming out of China. China likes to I think they like to try and compete with Florida.
I was going to say second only to Glasgow for weird kinks. I mean,
remember we had the guy that was stealing shoes that we were talking about? Was that in China or that was in Asia somewhere, wasn't it?
I don't know, but I was actually watching one of these like detective shows the other day, and it was a guy, funnily enough, ex-Navy, or he was Navy at the time, and he was going about stealing women's white shoes and white socks.
Wait, hold on, wait. Somebody in the chat. Go back to the article. Was that doctor's name Dr. Wang?
Dr. Wang Hung.
Oh my gosh, Dr. Wang.
Dr. Wang Hung.
Wang Hung.
Wang Hung?
Yeah.
Oh no.
No, it was Wang Jung, but still, I mean, just the irony of Dr. Wang having to be involved in this situation. Just thinking.
Now Ryan's trying to call.
Indeed.
Ryan Gable's trying to call, but we're about to wrap up, so I'll add him to the call. But I know we're just getting close to finishing, but he must have something to add to the whole kind of. I don't know. Ryan Gable, what have you got to add?
What have you got to add at the very end of this soiree of ours?
I can't believe that these topics inspired anyone to call into the show.
Yeah, right.
Well, I wanted to share a Florida man story with you. As you know, I am a Florida man. So I thought it'd be appropriate for me to call in and share a story from my native state.
Ryan, you are the original Florida man. You are like the template of Florida man.
Yeah, actually, as a matter of fact, I'll tell you two quick stories. One, I just went to the store a little bit ago. I went to the bookstore. And to me, I mean, it's pretty cold outside where I am, but it's not too cold. So I was rocking some shorts and a T-shirt, and everyone was looking at me. You know, I got the socks on, do the socks and sandal thing. I am a classic Florida man.
Socks and sandals is a no-go, dude. It's a no-go.
Well, in Florida, you don't want to wear shoes in Florida, so.
Yeah.
True.
It's socks and sandals. The socks are part of the. That's when it gets warm. That's when it gets cold. In Florida, we put the socks on. That's when you know it's chilly.
I'm just picturing Popeye running about with a pair of socks and sandals on.
He might be rocking the socks and sandals, but I have this quick story for you. I know you guys got to go. This is Newsweek, and I apologize if you already mentioned it. I just tuned in for like a half hour ago. This is Newsweek. Florida man loses card game, sets winner's car on fire. Mom turns him into police, charged with murder.
What is wrong with Florida, dude?
I don't know, man. I never done anything crazy like this. I mean, I have the attire down, but I don't do stuff like this. I've never tried to feed a squirrel meth. I've never set someone's car on fire, anything like that.
Well, I'm just looking for a quick story before we do go here because it was Billy. Somebody, oh, you're joking me. It's one of these stories where I can't get it. Says, Florida man, beer in hand, cocaine. Oh, yeah, it's a story about how somebody in Florida got pulled over, right? And they were found with coke in the car. They were drinking at the time. And they told the police, you'll never believe what happened. The coke blew out of one car right into his car. Right in the window.
Wow. Okay, that's a good one.
Yep. Only in Florida, man.
Yeah, I was to say that sounds like a very Florida sort of explanation for why.
That's a Florida explanation.
I'm just trying to see if I can find the story because, yeah, there it is there. In fact, this is from last year, actually. But it's still very... It serves its purpose because we're saying that Florida man is a recognized thing.
Well, apparently this guy only lost $1,000 in a card game. It's not like he lost 10 or 15 grand. He must have been pretty hard up to lose $1,000.
Website now. I refuse to use the Daily Mail anymore. They make you turn off your ad blocker. There we go. We'll get it here. No, that's the one that's blocked in my country. Oh, yeah, Florida woman claims wind blew cocaine into her purse. This might even be a different story. Yeah.
This is another one. Oh, my God.
It's a different story.
That must be like a common explanation in Florida. Like anytime anyone's got illicit substances in their car, they're like, yeah, the wind just blew it in the car.
Yeah. Maybe they got wind that there's a judge that works with or something.
Maybe it's code. Maybe it's code. Yeah, that's because we know that everything online is code these days, guys, right?
Yeah, sure.
Everything's code.
Did you see the other story I sent you, Kev?
Joe, did you say they got wind that a judge?
I did.
Kev, speaking
the
of
wind is blue. The wind is blue.
I just sent you an article about Prince Andrew. You know this is going to get people up in arms.
Don't demonetize me. Don't do it.
No, it's not about that. It's about pizza.
I know, dude. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it.
He said he was at a pizza party. That's not bad. You won't get banned for that.
I know. Well, you've done it now. So I'll show people what I put out on Twitter earlier on. Let them eat pizza. Don't be a dough ball and don't fall for their fake Italian food because we've had Jimmy Kimmel and Jimmy Fallon wearing it. We had somebody on the BBC today with a pizza tie on. Just hours before Prince Andrew's latest excuse is, I was at Pizza Express. So when the mainstream media are doing their best to bait you back into the biggest psyop that ever existed, you know they're trying to distract you from the real story. And it's not about a fucking pizza shop. It's about a palace in the UK and the establishment and a prince and crimes that never took place in a cellar that didn't ever exist under a pizza shop that the mainstream media told us about.
So what do I owe you, like $500 for demonetizing this video?
Probably closer to 50 cents in reality, but...
Okay. All right, I'll get that shipped over to you.
No, I'd spotted this as well, Ryan. You know me and you. We're always on the same page. And for people out there wondering why I'm saying all of that is fake, because it is. Because it leads to nowhere, and it stops you looking at the real stuff that's happening, the real stuff that's on the verge of being uncovered now, the stuff that gets ABC reporters fired.
Yeah, that's right.
You see what I'm saying there? You see, and then compare that to the weird and wonderful and absolutely unsubstantiated world of pepperoni pizzas and Hollywood celebrities and throwing names here, there, everywhere, and does any of it ever stick? No. And like I say, when you see such an effort where they're wearing pizza pants and making videos on YouTube about it, and on the BBC hours before their interview, they've got a cat sitting there with a big pizza tie on, and then Andrew himself, his excuse is he was like he's having a pizza party. Come on.
That's right.
And you know that that's going to distract people and it'll all go back onto the pizzas.
Yes.
Yep.
Where did you say that kid put the metal balls or something inside of him?
In a place where you should never be putting metal balls, my friend.
Was that in China?
Yes.
Yeah, that kind of makes a little more sense.
It
but
does.
like you guys were saying, China's a country-sized version of Florida.
I told you, Kev. I told you. It's like China seems like they like to compete with Florida in a lot of these weird sort of ways.
You're right. Well, folks, unfortunately, we are out of time. We're 7 minutes over our time. We've got the 90-minute golden rule at the weekend. I like the 90 minutes. It's fast. It's rapid. And Ryan, you'll have to hook up for a date so we can do a full Florida Man show.
Yes, I'd love to do that.
Yes, indeed. I think that could be highly hilarious. Lots of fun to be had with that one. And we'll be back tomorrow, guys, right? Into the Paranormal Woo tomorrow. We'll do Paranormal Woo tomorrow, eh? How's that sound?
Whatever.
Some shadow dudes.
Fine by me.
Some dog man. Any other ones we haven't spoke about that any you can think of, Ryan, that we've like never covered before, you've never heard us cover? Cryptid.
Ryan.
Is he
Ryan
gone?
left.
There we go.
Yeah, he's gone.
He's
yeah, we might have to dig up some weird obscure cryptids or something like that. Some weird kind of paranormal stuff. I'm still tripped out about the Bunyip in Australia.
The Bunyip. Have you ever seen the Bunyip, Joe? Before we go, that you have to see this thing, man. This is the weirdest looking thing ever.
Okay.
The Bunyip. Look at that thing, dude.
Wow, look at that thing, huh?
That's like a proper beastie, right?
Yeah, wow.
The state of that.
Love it.
Yep. There it is there, look.
They said it has really no, it doesn't just look like one thing. It's almost like a shapeshifter. It morphs.
Yeah, right.
It can be whatever it wants to be. It really doesn't have no solid description to it. It's just some kind of beast that comes out of the rivers and kills shit, pretty much.
Pretty much. So is that us, guys? Are we ready to fire up the flux capacitor, set the dial? Yep. What year are we going back to this time? Any year, any timeline apart from this one, right? Can we take a look at Mandela effects tomorrow as well?
Absolutely.
Let's do it.
Yeah?
Let's do it.
We haven't done that for a while. Remember the last time New York freaked us all out? We found out World War I was all started by something new and all the rest of it. We could have one of those moments. So until tomorrow, folks, I want to thank everyone who super chatted, all of our new members. And of course, for you members out there, I will be doing the VIP members only chat stream tomorrow in the early evening time here in the UK. Keep an eye open for that. Now, myself and the guys will be back tomorrow, the three amigos, Yes, indeed. Joined by woo. That's what we are, boys. We're bound by the woo. So we'll be back tomorrow.
Good.
And talking of woo, you know what I always say? Keep your mind open. Look at all of the information. Look for all the woo, but don't let your brain turn to black goo. And there,
And Duke, should Duke sign us off?
Duke should sign us
By all
off, Scott.
means.
This is KTIT, K-Tit, playing the best tunes in town.
Can't beat a little bit of K-Tit.
No.